continue to learn new details about a violent attack on a plane headed to Orange County.
That's right. A passenger accused of punching a flight attendant in the face. KCAL 9 Orange County reporter Michelle Geely is live in Santa Ana this afternoon with more on that frightening confrontation. Michelle?
That's right. It does seem like these incidents on planes are becoming more and more violent. We still do not know who this passenger is or whether he lives here in Orange County. The flight originated in New York. Both the FBI and the U.S. Attorney are investigating but have not made any arrests yet. Meanwhile, the flight attendant is out of the hospital and is back home. Boos were heard coming from passengers as a male suspect was taken off the plane in Denver in handcuffs Wednesday night. Union officials say the passenger got up out of his seat and punched a flight attendant in the front galley, severely injuring her.
After a flight attendant who was working in a different cabin bumped this passenger, we're told. She then walked into one of the flight galleys, and this passenger approached her and punched her in the face at least twice. That's what we know right now. Not exactly sure how much. And she sustained broken bones in her nose and her face.
The violent attack on the flight bound for John Wayne Airport in Orange County was singled out by the CEO of American Airlines as one of the worst displays of unruly behavior on his employees.
As to this individual, I can guarantee you he will never be allowed to fly American Airlines again. That is not enough. This type of behavior has to stop. And the best deterrent is aggressive criminal prosecution.
The FBI in Denver is investigating. One passenger who eventually landed in Orange County shared what she saw.
I understand that he actually punched her twice. I did see her walk back down the aisle afterwards. She had blood splattered on the outside of her mask.
At no time in history have there been more verbal and physical attacks on board flights, the flight attendant union says. It wants the FAA and the Department of Transportation to prosecute violators and ban them from every airline to protect the crew and the flying public.
Look, we need passengers to feel safe on board an aircraft, whether that is with the virus or whether that is with knowing it's going to be safe and they're not going to be attacked or witness an attack that puts the airplane in jeopardy at 35,000 feet.
Now, American CEO says the FAA has the authority to fine disruptive passengers up to $50,000. We still don't know whether this passenger was under the influence or whether he'll be facing criminal charges. That's the latest live in Santa Ana at John Wayne Airport. I'm Michelle Geely.
Okay, I want that was the audio right there that y'all heard for this story right here. And this story right here, I wish I could say it's crazy, but it's common, especially this year. I've done a few videos in the past couple of months. It's been a couple of months since I did one, but I've done some. It's been a while since I did one, but I did a few this year. All of them from this year, ironically, where you've had these unruly passengers just act crazy on the plane. They actually showed a couple of clips right here in this audio, but y'all couldn't see it because it was a video. I remember one where the white lady got into it with one of the passengers. She hit that woman so hard that she knocked her 2 front teeth out. You had a couple of incidents where the passengers were so unruly that they had to get duct taped to the seat. I think it was like 3 of those. And now you have this one. It was probably something that happened between this and this one, but now you have this one. Now, what all of those incidents had in common was all of those people were non-black. They were either palm colored, or in this case, Asian. This guy, you can clearly look at this guy and tell this is an Asian man, right here that did this. And all that happened was the flight attendant bumped into him in a non-aggressive way. Cause on those planes, sometimes it might be a little bit of turbulence or whatever, or the plane is not steady. They might bump your shoulder or whatever the case may be. And he took that as an offense, got up out of his seat, and attacked this person, hit this person twice, causing them to have broken bones in their nose and in their face. You heard the witness say that there was blood coming out of their mask, like literally leaking out of their mask, because that's how hard this person hit her. Now, this is a guy that hit another woman. Now, we always hear, sorry about that, the pause, but I believe I was left off at the part where this was a guy that hit a woman. Now, we always hear stories about the abuse that those who are Asian men deliver to their women when it comes to abuse, I would not be surprised if this is not the first time he's had an altercation with someone of the opposite sex, especially for something this small, because there was no reason for him to actually attack this woman. They said that she bumped him, and it doesn't sound like she did it in an aggressive way. I wouldn't know why she would want to risk her job to actually, have this happen. And no one on the flight is saying otherwise. It's just showing him in a very bad light right here. And I'm going to be honest. Me and him would probably have to go at it if I was on this flight, not because of what he did to this woman, but because I'm on this flight trying to get to a destination and you're hindering the process, because they ended up having to do, I wouldn't be surprised if they had to do an emergency landing because of this, because there was a serious injury. So they had to do an emergency landing on the benefit of the employee, the person working on the flight who was badly injured. And he caused that diversion of the flight, which means now I have to wait a couple of hours to switch up to another flight to get me to where I need to be. At that point, now we might have a problem. I'm sure we probably will. And I'm sure some of the people on that flight probably want to throw hands because of that, which is why they were booing him as they was getting him off the flight, probably. But yeah, they said that he's going to be banned from flying American Airlines anymore. And at first I thought that the CEO was going to just stop right there. I'm like, that's it. But then he says that's not enough. And he said that there needs to be criminal charges. And I agree, because there's several criminal charges. One of them, of course, is clearly physical assault. Clearly physical assault. The other one would be the disruption of a flight in midair and causing an emergency landing. I'm sure that's going to cost money, because because unless there is a problem with the plane itself, if you have to do or maybe there could be something where someone is sick and they have to do an emergency landing, things that are out of your control, that's one thing. But when it's a physical altercation like this, I'm sure that's going to cost the airlines money when it comes to that. And that puts the people who are in charge of the airline in a position that they probably don't want to be in, but they have no other choice but to be in. And that's where the handing down of charges comes. Now, the reason why you have not heard me mention this person's name is because nowhere is it mentioned of his name. I had to actually type in certain keywords into Google to find this image, because they don't identify him by name. We just have this picture of him sitting on the chair with his hands cuffed and his mask on. So, yeah. And I was actually reading a post from Professor Black Truth, because he had posted a tweet about it. He says they are most likely, and I'm just paraphrasing, they're most likely just waiting for the time when they can get a black person that's in this same position so they could try to make them the face of it, because that's what they always do. You can have hundreds of other groups doing the same thing, but all it takes is one black person, and it doesn't matter the gender or the age, and boom, now they're the face of this, that, and the third. They do it with everything else. I wouldn't be surprised. But he's also most likely, and he should, pay that woman's medical bills. Like when I heard them say that, and this is before they said what injury she had, that she's about to get out of the hospital. I'm like, damn, how hard did he hit her? And then to find out that he broke bones in her face and her nose, which means she's probably going to have to get some rhinoplasty surgery. And if y'all don't know what rhinoplasty is, it's basically a nose job. That's the technical name for it. He would be paying and footing the bill of all of that. I don't care how much it costs. You did this damage to me, which means that's like I won't be able to work for a while, and you traumatized me for life. You're paying these bills. At that point, that's the least you could do. The most you can do is go to jail, which he should. He should do some serious jail time for that, because he did that while the plane was in the air. I remember doing a story about a guy who was freaking out on the plane trying to open up the emergency exit door while the plane was still on the ground. Again, another non-black person. And I think I talked about that story too. But like Professor Black Truth said, they're just waiting for that one sole black person to do something before they pull the trigger and say that this person is the face of mid-air violence or mid-air terrorism, whatever you want, whatever they're going to give the name for, because they're probably going to come up with a title for it. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.